Hello, and welcome to another video. This is episode number 30 of the podcast. And I think we should just get started. It's been about 2 weeks, and I'm kind of feeling the same way as I felt 2 weeks ago when I recorded episode 29, in the sense that I don't really think that I have much to talk about. So I think this is also going to be quite a quick episode. So starting off, I would like to talk about the Midvinter sweater that I have been working on for my boyfriend. So first off, some specifications. The pattern that I am using was created by Stine Holgard Johansen, and it is a free pattern from Jarbo. I am using the recommended yarn, which is Jarbo's svensk ull 3 trådar, so Swedish wool 3-ply, and this has a yardage of 90 meters per 50 grams. And the colors that I am using are, I can't do this by heart. Yes, I am using Bergslagen dark blue and Dala blue. Yes, okay, so 2 weeks ago, I said that if everything goes well, I'll have the sweater completely done by now, and that's not the case. It has been causing me quite a bit of frustration, but I'll show you how it looks right now. I have to go a bit far away to show you. So this is the sweater. This is how it's looking at the moment. Yeah, so it looks finished, but for one, I haven't finished weaving in all of the ends. Actually, I haven't even come close to even quarter way, I think. I have so much here still to do, and I also have the sleeves, both of the sleeves. So this is still going to take quite a long time for me to finish. But the reason isn't that I was just not willing to weave in all of the ends. I have started here a bit, as you can see. Also on the other side, I've done the saddle here. Yeah, also the construction is just this saddle shoulder. I've spoken about this sweater so many times. I'll just quickly go through the construction. It's a saddle shoulder, so top down, neck first, then the saddle part for the shoulders, then you knit the front and the back, you attach on the sides and then go down, and then you knit the sleeves in the round, which I have done. The biggest modification is that for the most part, going down, I knitted flat, and then at some point I just started knitting in the round because I didn't have enough yarn for the sweater, so I had to order some extra. And so I first thought, well, if I knit it in the round, it's also easier to see when I run out instead of knitting it flat. But in any case, yeah, so going back to what I was saying about this sweater, the reason why I haven't finished this isn't because I just didn't want to weave in all of the ends. The reason is that, to my surprise, it's too short. And it's too short by about, I think, 7 centimeters. I might even have to add 10. So throughout this entire process, I have been making my boyfriend try this sweater on to see how it fits. And I've done it many times when I was getting to the end, because the thing is, the issue with a lot of the sweaters that I wanted to say brother, but the reason the problem that my boyfriend has with a lot of his sweaters is that they end up being too short for him because he's just very tall. So yeah, the option is either get something a bit more fitted and it reaching his hips, or yeah, just like a bit too short, or having something completely oversized and then fitting him well. So that's also why I really wanted to make him a couple of sweaters so that he actually has clothes that fit him. But yeah, I mean, like I showed, this is pretty long already. But the issue is that, okay, so it fit him before I started making the border. And then I started working on the border. And what happened was that I didn't take into account the fact that once I add the border, the the way the sweater is, it rides up slightly, and so it made it made the sweater ride up so much that it the sweater now hits him, well, okay, hits him around here, which, yeah, I mean, it's okay, it's not too crazy, like it's not crazy short, but the problem is that whenever he's sitting, it rides all the way up, and whenever he reaches his arm up, it also goes all the way up. And so essentially he faces the same problem, maybe even worse than the sweaters that he's just bought from the store. Yes, so that's why I have put it aside for about a week or so, because I am just a bit tired with this sweater, because I actually ripped out the border before because it was short then as well. And then I ordered the yarn and I thought, oh, I'll just get 3 more lice pattern repeats in there, and it was still too short. So I think this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it open right above the border, and then I'm going to knit about 5 or 7 lice repeats, and then I'm going to graft it, the border and the sweater, using, yeah, Kitchener stitch. Yes, so that's my plan for the sweater. Yeah, it when I when he wore it for the first time, I could just see that he knew that it was too short, and I knew that it was too short as well. And I just asked him, how does it fit? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. Because he saw that I was so disappointed and so frustrated. I knew he didn't want me to, I don't know, have a breakdown over the sweater. So he wore it a couple of times indoor, and I kept catching him like pulling it down. So I just told him, I know it's too short, I'll fix it. So I'll be doing that soon. I don't know when, but hopefully in the next 2 weeks. So yes, that's everything for the Midvinter's men's sweater. Yes. Now I would like to move on to the Isager Archives collection. So I spoke about this, I believe 2 episodes ago. I think it was 2 episodes ago. And since that time, a lot of the patterns have come out. Actually, there are 3 more patterns left to be released. So to give you a bit of a recap, the Isager collection is a collection by Isager. Who would have thought? But basically every year, I believe, they invite a bunch of knitwear designers to design something using their yarns. And I think the past 2 years, it's been mostly, yeah, it's been just them inviting very popular Danish designers to knit something, and then every year has its own theme. Last year it was beachwear. I think 60s beachwear, if I'm correct. And then this year it's all about Åsa Lund Jensen's old designs. So Åsa Lund Jensen was the person who Marianne Isager, the founder of Isager, she took over Åsa's company when she passed away in, I believe, the 70s. And that's kind of like how Isager came to be. And so they essentially have all of Åsa's designs that have survived. And so these are designs that aren't publicly available. So yeah, what they did this year was to invite a bunch of popular Danish knitwear designers to come over, look at her patterns, and then use her patterns as inspiration for a new one. And so since the end of February, they have been slowly releasing everyone's patterns. I think every 3 or 4 days a new pattern gets released. And I have been really, really excited for this collection. I think I've said this before, but something that really intrigues me is the historical significance. I really like the idea of taking inspiration from vintage patterns and then creating something more modern. Yes. And so personally, I thought it would be very fun and interesting to knit up all of these patterns. And so that's something that I have been trying to do with a bit of failure in there. But yeah, I am also making vlogs for this. So they will be coming up on my channel in a couple of weeks, I think. Maybe they are already out as this podcast goes up, or at least the first one. So the first project that I am working on right now is actually the first design that got released, and this is a pattern by N. Wenzel. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, because I know that Anne gets pronounced differently all across Europe. In English it's Anne, but in Dutch it's Anne. And I looked on Google Translate and it said Anne. I have it here.
Anne Wenzel.
Yeah. So having said that, it is the Karla cape. Yes. So this design was actually inspired by a cape designed by Åsa called Bricker. And having read the pattern, and this is also, I believe, in the description and also on Wenzel's Instagram. So the cape uses this really interesting slip stitch pattern so that it mimics color work, where you use 2 colors per in specific rows. But in actuality, because of the slip stitches, you're just constantly working with one yarn color. Yeah, with one color. And so that also makes it quite accessible to beginners. In any case, yes. So the yarn that I used for this was Istex's létloppi, which is 100% Icelandic wool. The yardage is 100 meters per 50 grams. And I used the colors barley 1419 and then rust heather, as you can see here, as my main color. So the code for that is 9427. And yes, I really love this color combination. I do have to say it's quite hard getting this type of yarn in the Netherlands by going to a yarn store. And so usually I buy my yarn online. And so since I've been working quite a lot with color work over the past couple of months, it's it's sometimes hit or miss just because you can't really put the colors together when you're just when you're in front of your computer, right? And so Ravelry has been a very nice, how would I call it? Has been a very nice resource to check color combinations. I mean, this yarn is pretty darn popular, so there are a lot of projects where you can actually see the different color combinations. And I at first thought I would use this rust heather with more of a reddish color because on my computer it looked kind of darkish. And seeing the projects on Ravelry made me realize that actually the best color combination would be these two. So that's what I've gone for. Yes. Okay. So as for needles, I am using 4.5 millimeter needles, and I'll show you how the cardigan is looking at the moment. So, I actually have to say quite a lot about this, so we'll see how it goes. I'm putting this on in a very peculiar fashion, but oh well. This is how it's looking. And if you have seen the pattern floating around on the interwebs, you'll know that mine looks quite different. And that's because I've made a couple of modifications, and it's been a bit of a drama. I've created a problem for myself. I do have to say, first off, the pattern is excellent. It's well written and it's very uitgebreid. Very uitgebreid. What's uitgebreid again? It's very meticulously written. It's a very long pattern. I think it has about 12 pages in total. And when I first opened up the pattern, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. But once you read through it, you can really see that the pattern was written keeping in mind that beginners might want to try out this pattern. And so if for an experienced knitter, this pattern could be reduced to maybe 3 pages, but because it's so explicit, it's very accessible. It's accessible to a large number of people. Yes, so having said that, yes, if you are familiar with the sweater, you might notice that mine looks slightly different because I thought that it would be too big on me. The cardigan is quite oversized. I believe there are about 5 sizes in total, and the smallest size has a bust circumference of 120 centimeters, which would give me 43 centimeters of positive ease. And so I was a bit scared that it would just look like I'm kind of swimming in it. And the 2 samples that were knit that are shown in the pattern, they are, I believe the white one is size 1 and the brown one is size 3. And both of them look pretty large, and so I thought, okay, I think I would like to go from 120 centimeters to 105, so I would have about 22 centimeters of positive ease. And so what I had to do essentially was to cut off something on the sides. And this is where I made a huge mistake. So I thought, okay, I need to take off about 15 centimeters of this pattern. And I doubled it by mistake. So for some reason, I ended up taking of 15 centimeters at the back without realizing that I was supposed to only take off 7.5 at the back and 7.5 at the front, so that together it would be 15 centimeters. And so now this is actually too small for my liking. And I only realized once I had almost finished this entire sleeve and was working on this one. So I kind of did some digging. I went looking for other people who were knitting this, and the most useful place that I found things was just via the Instagram tag for the Karla cape. And so I decided that I really wanted this to work. So, I mean, as you can see, the sleeve is entirely gone. I have started all over again. And this time I've done the calculations well. So as you can see, this is actually connected to this new Karla cape. So it's kind of weird that I now have two quarter made, let's be serious, Karla capes. So now as I'm knitting this, I am unraveling this. And yeah, I think the fit is better now. It's definitely going to have a better, because this was kind of looked like a bit of a half dropped shoulder, and this is looking like it's actually gonna be a full dropped shoulder. So yeah, here I've actually taken off the right amount of stitches, and now it actually looks like how I wanted it to look. So this is going to drop a bit more as I knit the sleeves. So I think it's going to end up somewhere here. The original one of, I'm knitting size 1, by the way. The original size 1, the drop shoulder goes all the way here. So yes, now I think we're actually cooking here. We're actually cooking. Yeah, so I think it looks lovely. I love the yarn. It's so nice. I don't know, this combination just makes me so incredibly happy, and I'm so excited to continue this. Ooh. Ow. I have made more adjustments aside from taking off 7.5 centimeters. Here I also took off about, I think, maybe 5 or 7 centimeters from the armhole depth, because that was also quite deep, and I wanted the sleeves to be less big. The problem is with a pattern repeat like this, if you want to make the sleeves taper, then you're going to have to, in this color section, you're going to have to decrease the pattern repeat, like this section. You're going to have to decrease all of that within this section, which is a pretty drastic decrease. I think I actually did that at the start here, which, doesn't really matter if it's at the start of the sleeve, because it doesn't show up. But if it's somewhere around, I don't know, somewhere down the line of your sleeve, it's going to show up a lot. The other option, of course, is to have a broken repeat at the seam, the quote-unquote seam of your sleeves as well. But that's something that I didn't want. So I ended up, this is essentially how wide I would like my sleeves to be. So I ended up taking in this much of the sleeve, so that now I don't have to do this decrease anymore. And I think it'll work out. Yeah, I I'm very excited to see how it'll turn out. There's still going to be a whole button band here. So yes, I am very, very, very excited for this. So aside from working on the Karla cape, I have also been looking at planning for acquiring yarn for the other patterns within the Isaga Archives collection. And so the second pattern that was released was the Inge sweater by Lynette. And yeah, I actually bought some yarn for that, and I actually also made a swatch for it, but there's going to be a couple of changes. So this is this is the swatch that I made. And there was something not right with this. First off, let me tell you about the yarn. I don't think I have it with me, but I mean, you can see it here. This is Jarbo's Astrid, which is 100% superwash wool. The yardage is 125 meters per 50 grams. And the colors that I used were number 3, which is Camille Beige, 34, which is Perfect Purple, and then 33? Nani? And 19, which is Spring Green. So, yeah, the issue that I have with Jarbo's yarn, well, it's not really an issue, but the thing is that I don't have anything to do the color combinations with. There's not a lot of people who are on Ravelry who use this yarn, which makes sense because it is Swedish yarn. And even for me, there are only 2 websites, I believe, that can ship this yarn to where I live. And so I kind of had to just wing it. And the thing is, I could have easily just picked out colors that were similar to the original pattern. Yeah, and that would have made life very simple. But I really do want to experiment with different colors, and so just kind of think of my own color combinations, or not necessarily my own, but just try out things that I think are interesting. I guess just to show also a different version of the pattern. But when I knit this up, I was not very happy with it, because for some reason it reminds me of 60s Jello salad. I know that's very, very random, but I used to watch a lot of vintage cooking videos, and I remember there being this Jello salad with mayonnaise that used to be very popular, and the green stuff reminds me of the Jello, and the beigey stuff reminds me of the weird mayonnaise, and then the purple kind of the olives. And I don't know, I was not vibing all that much with this, and I showed it also to my sister, and she was also not vibing with it. And also a problem with this pattern as well, as you might notice, is that the green kind of disappears into the beige, and I wanted something to really pop. And so I have been rethinking this a lot, and I think I might just want to I want to change the colors. Essentially, I want the dark purple to be the main color. I want to go for a lighter purple for the purple things right now, and then I want to keep the green. And so I thought that would be really fun, because I feel that purples and greens are kind of vintage combinations, or very 70s, if that makes any sense. I grew up watching a lot of Scooby-Doo, and so I also associate green and purple with Daphne, which is also very 60s, 70s. So I'm going to have to put this project on hold temporarily and then get some more of the purple yarn, get a bit of the light purple, and then try another swatch. And I think that is going to work very well because I checked the values, and the value of the light purple with the green is similar, and then the dark purple has a completely different value, and so I think it's really going to pop out. So I'm very, very, very excited for that. And then we have the Norma sweater by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It has been a while since I have completed one of My Favorite Knitwear's pieces. Previously, I only had one of her patterns. I had the vest number 1, and that was actually the first garment that I ever knit. And I believe, yeah, I knit 2 of them, and then I tried to remodel it into a sweater, the initial sweater for my boyfriend, which I have now completely abandoned because it's not a good idea to model a vest, try to create a sweater using a vest pattern. But yeah, I've learned the hard way. Yeah, so this is my second pattern of her. I have actually only made the swatch right here. So yes, the Norma sweater. Yeah, I made my swatch, used 4.5mm needles. Actually, I do have to say, this is actually quite nice. All of the patterns so far have had a similar gauge, 19 stitches to, I don't know, to like 20 something, to like 20, 26. I kind of like that consistency. So yeah, back to the yarn. I am using some, I believe it's Norwegian yarn, Viking garn, Eco Highland wool. This is 100% wool. I'm pretty sure it's non-superwash. Nothing said that it was superwash, so I'm going to assume that it's not superwash. And it has a yardage of 110 meters per 50 grams. And this is actually not the first time that I've been working with this yarn. I am working on a crochet sweater where I use this dark blue and white color of this yarn, and I just really like the feel of it. So I'm using these colors. They're actually pretty similar to the original sweater. I believe it has a different type of blue, and then the red is used instead of orange. In hindsight, maybe I would have wanted to switch up the main color, maybe make the main color light blue and then use these 2 as contrast colors, but it's too late for that now, and I'm still very excited for the end result. So I haven't really started on this. I've just made the swatch. So there's that. And then finally, I would like to give a quick update on the Sailor Color pullover. Yeah, I'm not really going to talk all that much about it because I haven't done all that much, but I thought I'd tell you that it's still on my mind and I still pick it up from time to time. Yeah, so here we are. Last time that I spoke about this, I was here. So I've done maybe 5 centimeters. Not that much, but once this section is done, I can actually I think I'm going to use a 3 needle bind off here for a 3 needle bind off for the shoulders, and then I'm going to start working on the sleeves. And I think when it comes to the sleeves, it's going to be easy or smooth sailing. Yes, so that's the very tiny update for the sailor collar pullover from Daruma, created by Mariko Oka. Yes. So that's everything for this episode. I'm hoping to have more things to show in the future episodes. I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't know. I wouldn't say slow, but when I kind of look back on what I've done in the past 2 weeks, I kind of forget what I've been doing. But yeah. And I've kind of feel that I've forgotten a bunch of things. But who knows? Okay, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon in another episode. Take care. Bye-bye.